We're getting closer to September, which means more and more information about new Apple products is coming. And I'm not just talking about the iPhones, even though it's already out. There's new info about what I mentioned in the podcast about the phone. Today, we'll dive into those products with more details that just surfaced. There's a thread about new Apple Watches in different colors. We'll also talk about iPads and a few other things that have been making noise in the Apple world. Let's start with something surprising. Apple is gearing up to produce new AirTags. Well, okay, maybe gearing up is a stretch, because it's set to begin no sooner than 2024, or maybe even towards the end of this year. So, the release of these new mini devices is probably planned for 2025. The basic idea behind this second generation seems to remain the same. Apple just wants to boost the chip inside these devices. It's supposed to work better with Apple Vision Pro, which is part of a bigger system built around this device that we're supposed to wear on our heads. Nothing surprising, given the iPhone 15. It's said to get a new ultra-wideboard chip, which should make it work even better with the Apple Vision Pro. So, it makes sense that these chips might also end up in new devices. The design, for now, seems to be pretty similar. As for these devices, not much is known. There's definitely more info about the new Apple Watch. First, something you might find useful when picking an Apple Watch. There won't be an Apple Watch SE 3rd generation this year. Apple wants to slow down the release of these budget-friendly smartwatches. The next version of the SE series will likely come in 2024. For now, only the Series 9 and the Ultra 2nd generation are set to launch. Regarding the regular Series 9 line, which includes the standard watches, like the ones I use, not much is changing, unfortunately. Apple wants to boost the processor and improve battery life so the watch lasts a full day on one charge if you use it quite a bit. On the other hand, there's a new color coming, a pink option that might appeal to many, something we've never seen before in devices like these. Of course, the other colors, the more popular ones, will stay. But the steel frames will still be offered in gold, graphite, and silver. Now, what's changing in the Apple Watch Ultra 2nd generation, also set to debut in September, includes some design tweaks. There'll be some changes. It might not be groundbreaking, but like I mentioned before, some parts will be made using special 3D printers. It's quite an unusual move, and if you're wondering why Apple's doing this, it's probably about money. On the other hand, they'll release it in another dark graphite color that was supposed to come out last year but got delayed, apparently, to this year. Expect that not too much will change here either, but if they upgrade the processor and improve battery life in the Series 9, they should do the same for the Ultra 2nd generation. So, some improvements are expected, not revolutionary ones though. And you should know that the starting prices will likely be high, just like the 8th generation Apple Watch or the 1st generation Ultra did. So, if these changes don't convince you, you might want to consider the current generations, because they'll probably disappear from the market quickly once these new ones come out. If there's a good deal, especially in the larger stores, you might want to check them out, because as you can see, there won't be a revolution here. Some of you asked about the blood sugar measuring feature, but as I mentioned before, let me remind you, there's little chance it'll be here this year, probably not the next, or even in 2026. The approval process by all medical agencies in the US and the European Union will take a really long time. Those who are more into this topic, especially devices that measure blood sugar, normally say this could take 3 to 4 years, so the release could easily be in 2026 to 27. Well, it's clear to everyone here that we've hit a wall and not much will change in the smartwatch industry, at least not in a short time. There'll be cosmetic refreshes, bigger screens, slimmer frames, faster processors, better batteries, but I wouldn't expect any major game changers, even from the competition. Speaking of September releases, we have to mention the other products too. It's said that the 4th generation AirPods will show up. The question is, how much will they cost and what will they really offer? Because, in my opinion, the current line of 3rd generation AirPods, priced at $180, isn't worth the quality for the price. The sound quality isn't spectacular, and the price would make you think they'd deliver much more. In general, there's talk of a new H2 chip, the same one that Apple put into the 2nd generation AirPods Pro. This chip makes the sound better, enhancing bass and overall audio across a wider range of frequencies. On the flip side, these earbuds will operate with Bluetooth 5.3, meaning the connection stability and range will be even better. With the new H2 chip and Bluetooth 5.3, the earbuds will last longer on one charge, adding an extra hour or maybe even two. So, they could last around 6 to 7 hours, making them quite appealing in the market, even though some earbuds out there can last 8 to 9 hours on a single charge. Still, that would be good for AirPods. Now, about the other things, Apple wants to copy a patent used in the second-generation AirPods Pro. This means you'll be able to adjust the volume directly on the stem. But what won't be copied? Well, they'll have a different design since they're in-ear earbuds, not the in-ear style of the Pro version. And most likely, they won't have active noise cancellation, ANC, either, which might be a deal-breaker given the high price you can bet on for this device. Right now, they're among the most attractive earbuds on the market for quality versus price. But as I've said before, looking at the overall picture, the second or even third generation AirPods might not be the best in that regard. If you're fine with in-ear earbuds, it's probably worth spending a bit more for the second generation AirPods Pro. As for the rest of the September conference, there will surely be the launch of new iPhones. This is how the new iPhone will look. There'll be changes, like a shift to USB-C in Europe and a switch redesigned into a button with 9 combinations for controlling various shortcuts. What's new in these rumors is the redesigned rear casing. It's expected to look similar to current models, with matte glass in the Pro version. But this time, the glass might be removable, so if it cracks, which happens quite often, you can get it fixed more affordably in a service center or even an authorized one. To sum up the latest news, it's safe to say that the price increases mentioned before are likely to be confirmed. At least $100 more for the Pro version, and maybe even $200 for the Pro Max Ultra, depending on what Apple names this model in the end. If this happens and a new iPhone with 2 terabytes is released. So, the boundary of smartphone prices could be shattered once again, especially in Apple's case. And finally, the latest news that recently came up is that Apple has already begun producing the phones themselves. Samsung Display, among others, started supplying Apple with the latest screens. The production of these phones is in full swing. Moreover, the release is most likely set for September 12th or 13th. That was pretty much expected. But the actual availability in stores is set for September as well. There won't be any delays, and Apple plans to get these devices into stores by September 22nd, a bit earlier than what was speculated a few days or even a couple of weeks ago. There were concerns about logistic issues pushing the release to early October. Moving on, last week Apple also shared their earnings with us. They presented a new financial report. First and foremost, the key takeaway is they saw a drop in their revenue once again. Still, their revenue is staggering, nearly $82 billion, but it's around 1% lower compared to the previous year. On the flip side, there's a positive note that Apple had never seen such high revenue from their services. The expansion of Apple Music, the whole Apple One package, and a few other services in their offering are showing positive results. This strategy of not just relying on product sales, but also profiting from the App Store and other services, is paying off, as the company is making a lot of money, especially in the services sector. As a result, there's a higher number of active Apple devices worldwide than ever before. And as a fun tidbit, let me tell you that if the next report, for the fourth quarter, unfortunately also shows a negative trend in terms of revenue, meaning another decrease, it will be the first time since 2001 that Apple has experienced a 4-quarter consecutive decline in year-over-year revenue. But last week, there were also reports that Apple is indeed working on the new iPad, or 6th generation, and it's said to be released later this year. Unlike the new iPad Pro, alongside it, there's going to be a new iPad mini 7th generation, which sounds a bit odd, considering that this line doesn't sell particularly well due to its size. It's not much larger than the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and next year, when the phones get even bigger, we might practically be holding a mini iPad. However, this new tablet is on its way. Interestingly, it won't feature the M1 chip, but instead, Apple is likely to go with the latest A16 or even A17 processors. That's all for today. Thank you for tuning into Tech Talk Worldwide today. Don't miss our upcoming episodes where we'll dive deep into the latest Apple products and innovations. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more tech insights.